Welcome her to the stage. Let's give a massive awards warm welcome to Sofia!
Once again, I'm extremely excited to be here. I am Sofia. I am a visual designer, art and creative director with 15 years of experience focusing exclusively on digital branding and products. And I have the huge pleasure and excitement and honor to officially announce that for the last couple of weeks, I have joined the hyper-talented Unit 9 team as creative director at its very own dedicated Metaverse Advisory Department. Exciting times ahead. Really exciting times ahead, because guys, the way that I see it, the metaverse is something way bigger that we currently know, learning about, or even imagining right now. But let's take it from the beginning, because there might be some people here that hear the term metaverse for the first time in their lives. No? Well, it's okay, I'm gonna do it anyway. So what is the metaverse? Now, I did promise myself that I would never start a speech with Neil Stephenson's Snow Crash book, because this is how every speech related to the metaverse starts with, but I'm gonna do it anyway. So before we get there though, let's see what the metaverse means from an etymological standpoint. So meta comes from the Greek word meta, which means after, beyond, what comes next, and verse comes from the word universe. And the first time that that term was ever mentioned, invented, and coined was back in 1992 by Neil Stephenson in this very book. And he described pretty much what we think about the word metaverse when we hear about it now. A virtual, parallel world where we will all be living in as avatars, and we will be able to visit it through portals via our VR headsets, completely cut out from the real world. Which for a few people might be a bit exciting, for most of us might be a bit dystopian, right? Well, let me break the news today that the metaverse is way more than that. It's way more than just virtual reality. Now, what I want you to do today is just take a step back, forget what you know or see or read about the metaverse in the internet, and try to think of it, vision it as an enhancement, an extension, an augmentation of our real reality, but without physical boundaries. Now, I did mention that for the last couple of weeks I am a member of Unit 9, but I did not mention that I do that through a completely remote role. So during the Greek crisis, I made a very conscious decision to stay and live in Greece, and at the same time, I've given up on the dream of working with big international agencies. I have the luck to be working with international clients and teams to bring my concepts to life, but not with agencies. 3 years back, this wasn't a thing. 3 years back, if you asked me, would you ever imagine working with Unit 9? I would say, no, no way. And just before that, for a whole year, I've been working with a huge conglomerate in the United Arab Emirates, Majid Al Futtaim. Some of these people are here today. So we were a team of 60 amazing designers based on almost every continent, different people, different cultures, different experiences, different timelines. Yet there we were, under the same roof, operating like a well-oiled machine. If this is not the metaverse, then what is? Virtual drinks, birthdays, celebrations, living and communicating through social media, all this new reality that COVID has accelerated for us, and we have been living it for 3 years now. If this is not the metaverse, then what is? If we think about the metaverse in a way more open-minded way, it is a future that has been brought to us earlier than expected. And it has enabled these technologies that up until now have mostly thrived in the gaming world, like virtual reality, blockchain, augmented reality. It enabled these technologies to become more mainstream, to reach more people, and that's just because our lives have suddenly become inextricably connected to technology and dependent on technology. This is why we're now ready more than ever to accept these technologies and make the next step. Evolution. The metaverse is the new age of the web. And I could go into the technical details of what Web3 is, but I won't do this today. This is not the purpose of this speech. Kathy Heikel godmother of the metaverse, couldn't have put it in a more straightforward and understandable way. If we think of Web 1 representing the period that sharing information, Google search, was introduced to the world back in the 90s, and that changed a couple of things. And if we think of Web 2.0 representing the rise of social media, e-commerce, and the sharing economy, and that changed even more things. We are now entering the era of Web 3.0, where we will be sharing information, social platforms, physical and digital assets, and where technology will be interconnecting people, places, and things in the real and the digital world, and it will be doing that in a way more immersive way. We are moving towards a 3D internet that is all around us. At some point, we will move away from phones to some form of wearables or contact lenses, where we will be able to see, interact with, and share information through. We are moving from here to here. Mixed reality installations, AR applications, virtual dressing rooms, virtual social meeting spaces, virtual business meeting spaces, endless virtual worlds to explore, visual concerts, galleries, fashion shows, artificial intelligence, robotics, NFTs, 5G, 6G, edge computing, blockchain. Endless opportunities, endless tools to create, advertise, sell, exchange, promote, experience, make a statement, connect, communicate, socialize. The world as we know it is changing. And I'm just taking this 25-minute opportunity to urge you to keep an open mind on what the metaverse's definition is and how important our role as designers is. One of my biggest inspirations growing up in the industry, Stefan Sackmeister, said something like this in one of his speeches. Everything you see around you has been designed by someone else for you. Don't you make the mistake to underestimate the power that you, as a designer, have to shape this. The metaverse is under construction. It's a work in progress. And we as digital designers, not only we have the luck to be alive while this build is taking place, but we are the ones building it. We are the ones that will be defining what this world will mean in 2, 3, 5, 10 years from now. So you probably tell me, all right, this all sounds great, Sofia, but where do we start, right? We've been given a wide canvas with endless opportunities, endless tools that defy laws of gravity, physics, biology. Everything that defined the word reality is currently on the table. It's being rediscussed. So where do we start? The key word that will be defining this whole new reality is experience. We will no longer be looking at the web as a means to find information, make a purchase, exchange a couple of messages with our friends. We will be looking for websites, applications, brands that will be answering to those needs by providing us an experience. So what are the keys? What are the tools to creating these groundbreaking new age experiences that play by the metaverse rules? Maybe, just maybe, the word experience itself might be able to give us some answers. So let's take a look at the 4 E's of experience. Ethereal, or otherworldly experiences. Why should you limit yourself in replicating real-life experiences when you have the opportunity to go wild and take advantage of the laws of physics don't apply? Authenticity and imagination, creating otherworldly experiences, will be key in setting brands apart. We have been going through some quite difficult stuff for the last 3 years, guys. Everybody needs a break from the reality we're currently living in. Opportunities for escapism is now welcome more than ever. We're going through the era of meta-modernism, another meta term that was first coined back in 2010. To describe the zeitgeist of new romanticism, informed naivety, and pragmatic realism in culture and arts. Think of the work of Wes Anderson as the perfect example of metamodernism. Now, 12 years later, we have been living it and experiencing it more than ever. Everybody needs a break from the reality we're currently living in. This is why, for me personally, from all the technologies available, the one that draws me the most is virtual reality. Even though I do believe that the future lies mostly in mixed reality, hybrid experiences, I want to share with you this quote by Sally Reynolds, creative director of Hyperspace, that really has stuck with me. With virtual reality, you can get lost into the imagination of others. There's something extremely interesting and seductive in this thought alone. Such an incredibly beautiful work by Avery Ilm and Alexander team, and all those amazing 3D artists that they partnered up with, an ode to beauty and the perfect example of this neo-romanticism and escapism movement that I'm talking about. Create stories that are impossible to forget. Storytelling is now needed more than ever. And following this absolutely beautiful reference, let's talk about aesthetics, because as a designer and on a personal level, aesthetics means a lot to me, play a huge role in my life. For me, aesthetics and the power of beauty goes beyond creating something visually beautiful. It can make you a better person. Our individual aesthetics go beyond, imply the values, the lifestyle, the morals that we are drawn to. So forgive me if I'm a little bit skeptical about the avatars and the condition of the aesthetics right now, that we see right now in the metaverse, but we have to understand that the technology, when creating real-time experiences, is not yet there, but it will be. And since we are at the very early stages, at the embryonic stage of this new age of the web, I do feel the urgency to address the power of beauty and aesthetics while building this new extraordinary world. My kind of metaverse is 100% realistic. My kind of metaverse is hyper-realistic. Hyper-realism in semantics and metamodernism is the incapability of telling real reality from virtual reality. And that's because with realistic environments and avatars, the realistic environments and avatars feel more real. And people connect to people and connect to environments that feel more natural to them. The experience stops feeling like a game, and it becomes literally a parallel reality, blurring the line between what is real and what is not. And honestly, I had this work by Unit 9 in mind while writing this piece, which really blew my mind last year. It's the recreation, the digital replica of the Met Museum in New York. God, it's exciting to be working with you right now. Okay, so since we're running out of time, I'm going to rush into it. Next, emotion, or stimulating as senses as possible to evoke strong emotions. Emotion is a word that rightfully has become a buzzword and overused in our industry for the last few years, but it's the most meaningful and most important of all. Sensory design is most important than ever. The more senses you stimulate in an experience, the more real, emotional, and memorable it becomes. So far, sight has been the most important sense to be able to navigate the web, right? So we were using typography, colors, maybe some motion to evoke some emotions, but that's just not enough in this experience-driven new era of design. We need to expand our tool palette. And this is why I want to talk about sound here. There are many, many studies out there around how sound is connected to creating emotionally charged memories. The same part of our brain that is responsible for processing our senses is at least in part responsible for storing emotional memories. Sound is not a new tool. The way we think about it when conceptualizing about this new age of the web is new. Unit 9, being the innovators that they are in the immersive space for last 25 years or so, turned sound into light back in 2018 to promote the launch of the Huawei Mate 20 Pro phone, an artificial intelligence-centric device.
The Northern Lights have always been a source of wonder for me. The intensely beautiful colours and the way they seem to dance across the sky. As a composer, I try to convey how something makes me feel through the music I create. So instead of only seeing the Northern Lights, could we also hear them? What if we could somehow translate those colours and movements we see into a symphony we can all hear? Introducing artificial intelligence into my music has opened up a whole new range of creative possibilities. I can now feed footage of the Northern Lights into an AI system which analyzes things such as color, size, shape, and speed. I can then incorporate those elements into the symphony.
As a conductor, I interpret the composer's vision, directing and shaping the character of the music through the orchestra's performance. For Sound of Light, I aim to amplify and enhance the emotion of this particular performance, so it feels as if the Northern Lights and AI are talking to us through music.
Okay. Last but not least, engagement, or hyper-personal. Get people engaged. Make it personal. Make it hyper-personal for them. Get people involved in the story you want to tell. Make them heroes in the story you want to tell. Have them create their own memories with the brand you are designing for. We are shifting, we did talk about the importance of storytelling, but we are shifting the narrative from storytelling to story living. And that feeling of being completely immersed in the experience, living it yourself. Storytelling tends to be a one-way conversation with brands merely talking at people, than rather to them. Story living is when brands open up a dialogue with their audience, actively involving them in their story. And I'm going to finish this presentation not showing a brand activation, but an all-time classic, quite famous technology and art installation created back in 2012 and still being exhibited at the Sharjah Art Foundation in the United Arab Emirates. It's the Rain Room by Random International. conceived by Random International, a group founded by Hans Koch, Florian Ortgras, and Stuart Wood, who met while studying at the Royal College of Art. Rain Room is an immersive installation that is encompassing for its haptic, visual, oral, and sensual qualities. Attracting a wide demographic from middle-aged couples to groups of students, children, teenagers, and the elderly, who wait up to 3 hours to see this exhibition, the work has drawn attention for its inherent challenge, daring visitors to test their influence over when the rain falls, or indeed, if it can be stopped. All these concepts, meanings, tools, they are not new. The way we use them is, the way we perceive them is, and it's in our hands to use them right. We as millennials have been grinding about how our parents and our grandparents have destroyed our future from an economical standpoint, from a cultural standpoint, from an ecological standpoint. This future, we are building it with our own hands. UX designers will be needed, UI designers will be needed, storytellers will be needed, brand strategists, creative technologists, all of you, all of us will be needed. The metaverse is a work in progress. It's under construction, and we are the builders. So let's go build it. Thank you.